Hello and welcome to another episode of Industry Celebrities. My name is Kimberly Scott. I'm a former video girl and now podcast rookie. Industry Celebrities is a podcast where my friends in all sorts of industries are kind enough to be my guests and assist me in honing my interview skills, process, whatever you want to call it, by answering just a few quick questions about their passions, their industry, anything that they're doing, which all makes them a celebrity to me. If you're interested in sharing your knowledge on industry celebrities, please send me an email at kimberly@marketingdoer.com, and you can listen to other episodes by searching iTunes and Anchor for Kimberly D. Scott, or even watching them on YouTube. Just search Kimberly D. Scott or Marketing Doer. So today's guest is a colleague and friend that I volunteer with at Insync Exotics, a wildlife rescue sanctuary in Wylie, Texas. So hello and welcome, Lon.
Hi, Kimberly. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. So tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what industry you're technically in.
Sure. So briefly, I tell everybody I'm a recovering engineer. My background in schooling is in electronics and computer software and computer science. So after 20 years in the telecom industry, I dropped out, lived in my trailer, traveled around my camper, and I'm now in the nonprofit industry, fundraising in particular.
Well, that's fun. It's fun, and it goes all to a great cause, right?
It does, yeah.
So tell me, did you just fall into nonprofit? Like, what was the timeline of?
Great question. You know, I didn't grow up thinking that I wanted to work lots and lots of hours and get paid very little money. It just kind of happened that way. I started volunteering at the Soupmobile, a mobile soup kitchen in Dallas, feeding the homeless.
And how many years ago was that?
So that's been about 10, 11 years ago.
Okay.
And so just God led me to get more and more involved in helping them. And David, the executive director, kept trying to hire me. I didn't want a job. And pretty soon I found that he had asked me to run their big Christmas event for the homeless. And the next thing I knew, I was the development director, raising money, running events for the homeless, for fundraising and things, and realized that my passion for helping people really came through.
Yeah.
And
honed your skills very well.
Yeah, I did. And, and I learned that, we talk about fundraising, I really refer to it as friend raising, because it's just all about relationships with people. And so for 10 years, I've been working with and for nonprofits, and for the past year and a half now, I've actually been consulting with a number of nonprofits to help them with their fundraising needs.
That's amazing, and good for you finding your passion. Sometimes it takes us a little while, even though we go to college for something else. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about more what you do with Insync Exotics and about why people should get involved.
Sure. So Insync Exotics is a wildlife rescue facility.
Okay.
And they rescue exotic cats, tigers, lions, cougars, all kinds of different cats. They've got about 77 cats out there now.
Wow.
It started back in late 90s, 2000, when Vicki Cahey, the founder and executive director, was working at a vet clinic, and somebody brought in a cougar that they basically, ultimately, the short version of the story is they left there, they abandoned it. And so she took it home and raised it.
I don't even know what to say to that.
Exactly. I mean, it's...
One, why do you have a cougar? And two, why would you, abandon it in someone else's care?
Right. Well, and unfortunately, that kind of leads to why there unfortunately is a need for a wildlife sanctuary. Is people think, oh, it would be really cool to own a tiger.
Yeah.
And you can buy a tiger, black market or otherwise, thinking, oh, I can do this, and then it's like, oh,
I shouldn't.
It grew up.
Yeah.
Oh,
it might eat me.
Exactly. It's expensive,
yes.
And things like that. And so then all of a sudden they don't want it anymore.
Wow.
And, they can't take it to the SPCA, which unfortunately people do with, dogs and cats and things as well. So,
seriously?
Well, not tigers and lions, but I mean people, will
the
decide they don't want their dogs. So unfortunately there are more tigers in backyards in Texas than there are in the wild.
Really?
But
wait a minute, because people go and buy them and put them in their backyards?
Right. Not that they're walking around, but that
they keep them as pets.
People have them as pets. And there are people that have exotic animals. They take care of them. They're well maintained.
They have the money to make sure
and
that
it's
they
great. And then there are other people that a lot of it is they are used in kind of the entertainment industry. There are cub petting businesses where they'll say, hey, we can bring a cub to your grand opening and people can have their picture taken for $10 or whatever. The thing is there are regulations with that, and those cubs can only be used till a certain age and or a certain weight. So when that cub has outgrown that, they're no longer usable. They either euthanize them, they throw them in a cage in the back someplace, they sell them to somebody, they're not treated well, they'll use them to reproduce so they can have more cubs and so you end up with a lot of animals that they're not pets, they're not being taken care of well, and
they're leading a life of captivity that they're not supposed to, like horses and every other, what God intended these animals to do, run free or out in an area that it's not enclosed in a cage. They're not supposed to be there.
Exactly.
So
and the problem is they're raised in captivity. So it's not like they can be released to the wild. There obviously is no wild here in Texas for a tiger to run around. And so really sanctuaries like Insync, they're really against breeding and things like that. We would love to not be needed, leave the animals in the wild. But unfortunately there is that need. So like I said, they've got 77 cats. Once they rescue a cat, it's there for life. So they have cats that have been there for 20 years. That 18-year-old cats. There's some cats that are 23, 24 years old.
They do a great job of moving them around. And when I went out there to see them, I was very amazed at how big their enclosures are, and it's just amazing what they've done, what Vicky's done, and this team of people have done. That's why I was like, sure, I'll volunteer. Like how can you not? You see these animals and your heart just breaks for them. Well, mine did, and to see, that someone else is taking care of them, that's amazing. But that you just almost feel bad because that they know that they should be somewhere else almost. But they're happy because these people that are caring for them care about them. They're not mistreating them. And like when I think I asked the question of why should you not buy an exotic animal or white tiger, and what Vicky's story was, you can correct me, was white tigers, they breed them in a way that if the cub is not white, then they kill the cub. Is that correct?
Right. So a white tiger is actually a genetic deformity.
Okay.
And so that they don't have the yellow coloring, they come out white, but it's typically from inbreeding of two white tigers that both have that same deformity. So in addition to the white color of their fur, there are other deformities that can happen. They can have clubbed feet, they quite often are cross-eyed. They may have a cleft palate, which means they're not going to eat, and so then they're going to die. And if somebody's breeding it for that, if they end up having a yellow tiger, then that wasn't their goal. They're not going to be able to sell it, so they either kill it, abandon it, give it to somebody that's
doesn't know what they're doing. Yeah.
So
people stop buying exotic animals, tigers, white tigers. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Oh, that makes me sad.
Yep. And if somebody's charging you to come see them, a roadside thing, don't encourage that.
Yeah. Okay. Don't support that either. Got it. Yes, sir. So tell me, why should people get involved with Insync Exotics or go and check out the facility?
Right. And we would love to not be open to the public, but they have to feed the cats, take care of the cats. Exactly. They're a nonprofit. And as you said, when people come out there and see how well they're taken care of, it touches your heart. You want to get more and more involved. And so they're open on weekends to the public for a donation that you can come in and walk around. Obviously, the cats are all double caged and everything else. They're in big playground areas and things, so it's very safe for everybody.
Yeah, and don't go out when it's 100 degrees because the cats are, like, I saw that they're in their little because there's all these little cubbies and or water cubbied area. They want to stay cool. It's too hot in Texas. How do they keep them from getting overheated? Excellent
question. So they are very, very cognizant about the health and the wellness of the cats, whether it's heat or cold. So they have den areas that are cement. That besides being easy to clean is, as you know, cement is very cool. You go find a dog in the summer, he's laying on cement or they're digging into the ground a little bit. They have pools for the tigers who love water, and they'll just go and lay in the pool and cool off like we do. They have tubs, big tubs, water tanks that the cats will lay in. They will have fans sometimes in some of the enclosures. In the winter, they'll put heaters in the ones that are needed, straw and things like that. I mean, keep in mind these animals, typically Africa, things like that, so they're used to heat. But like I was walking around there last night and it was a little cool. But yeah, they're just kind of laid out on their back, and you can tell they are not stressed at all. They know they're being taken care of. They're getting fed. They're getting vet care.
Yeah, good vet care, yes.
Yep.
some of the veterinarians that I met when I was out for the first time, the stories that she was like, I just came upon them and I loved it so much, and they just come and they volunteer their time. I mean, it's very amazing when you see it and it touches your heart, the things that you will do. For sure. So people can come out and take tours on the weekend for donation. Is there anything else that people can do? What if they can't come out there? Like, is there a website they go to?
There are. So Insync's website, insyncexotics.org.
Okay.
They also...
.org, people. That's
.org.
.org, see?
Yep, that's good. Insyncexotics.org.
Yes.
Thank
Okay.
you. And thanks to you, we're resurrecting the YouTube channel.
Yes.
So
I'm
we're
very excited
starting
about
to
that.
get videos out there, so you can go to... Actually, if you go to the website and click on the little YouTube button, it'll take you right
Yeah,
to
if
the
you just
page out there.
Google Insync Exotics, you'll definitely get their website and all their social media channels, and you can donate straight from their website, correct?
Yep. We have a lot of activities out there and
Okay.
events and things that are an opportunity for people to come out, and they do things for the cats, like the Big Cat Birthday Bash, where besides having games and face painting and all kinds of activities for families, the cats will get ice cream and cake and things that are okay for them to eat.
Yeah.
Lots of toys.
Celebration.
You know, in the fall they do a watermelon toss. Maybe that's the spring. Fall they do the pumpkins.
Okay.
So it's fun to be out there and watch them as they, you know, they throw a pumpkin into the playground area and then they let the cats out there and they roll around
fun.
and play and chew and whatever they do. So a lot of activities for the cats, but also for the public as a way to come support them. Probably going to be doing some online auction things, cat painting.
Yay,
Little
sounds
Kylo
fun.
Ren, the white tiger.
Oh, Kylo Ren.
So yeah, you kind of got to see him a little bit, help with some videos.
Yes, that was quite an experience. I can say that they're so beautiful. Like,
So Kylo, his parents were
brother and sister, right?
probably so. We don't know for positive, but we're pretty sure they were, and they're both white. The male, Assad, is a snow tiger. He's almost pure white. You can barely see his stripes. And then Zara, the mother, they were actually confiscated by Texas Parks and Wildlife and a sheriff county. We can't really talk about where. But the people had them illegally. There were no permits or anything else. They were just out fenced in a field. And so they contacted Vicky and the team went down and they brought them back. And the cats were in quarantine.
Quarantine, okay.
As we do for a
Making
while.
sure.
Then they get all their shots and taken care of. About 5 weeks after they were brought to us, Zara had a cub. We didn't even know she was pregnant. Obviously,
Wow.
we have no way of knowing her history.
Yeah.
So we don't know if she was eating more or less or anything else, but she had a cub, and it was a white tiger cub. And that's little Kylo
But
Ren.
even if he hadn't been, they would have had a baby tiger, you know, birthed in captivity, I guess is that what they say?
Yep. You know, we don't breed them,
Yeah.
but obviously,
Yeah.
we're going to raise him and take care of him. So he's still in quarantine. They're making sure he gets all his shots.
But he's
I heard-
out playing a little bit more. I think
Yeah,
that's
he's
what
got an
Paige-
outdoor enclosure,
Yeah.
outdoor area to go play, and oh yeah, he's getting a lot of love, a lot of love. So he was 25 pounds the other day, so he was
Wow.
like 3 pounds when he
Yeah.
was born. So
Big.
again, our Facebook page, Insync Exotics,
That's-
you get to watch him grow up, and
Yeah.
as well as all the other
Go
cats.
check out Facebook, Insync Exotics Facebook pages. You can follow all the adventures of all the cats. What's your favorite cat?
Well, you know, I've been spending a lot of time with Kylo Ren, so
okay.
probably like everybody else, they've all got personalities.
Yes.
Gus, who is a white tiger that was also in quarantine when you came out, I really thought I was going to bond with him because
was
when
scary.
I
He
saw
didn't
him
like
in
you very
quarantine,
much.
well, the first time he seemed fine, but yeah, when you were out there, and now he's out in his enclosure, he doesn't like, or you know, his playground area, he doesn't necessarily like men,
Yes.
and
Because
so
when we walked, even when he was in the quarantine, then we walked outside and like he got up, followed you, like you walked around the cage on the outside, double fence, and he just followed you the whole entire time. And then you came back and his head came back with you. It was very strange. As there were two women standing there looking at him. Going,
He's ignoring
"How pretty
you,
are you?"
So, you know, when I'm out there, I tend to walk by him. I don't want to bother him. You know,
Yeah.
he seems to be agitated or he almost looks like he's hunting.
Yeah.
And so
That's a good
I
description
just
of it.
kind of move along
Yeah.
and, you know, so I was hoping maybe we could bond and I could go visit with him, but I say, hi, Gus, and I just keep walking.
Yeah, you're
and he
like,
just-
I'm not trying to upset you. Yeah, it's
Exactly.
good. Well, my favorite cat is the Black Panther. Aramis?
Aramis,
yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, very much so. He trailed back and forth, you know, kind of like one of the cartoons that you see, you know, of a cat trying to get out of the cage, but just like saying hi, you know, but just walking back, what are you doing, where are you going, what are you doing, where are you going? That was pretty cool. But yes, they do. All the cats have so many different personalities that I can see that, and the way that they treat each one of them differently in their care and what they like to play, what they don't, their likes and dislikes. They're very aware of all those things. So kudos to Vicki and the team. They're doing a great job.
It's amazing out there because they have volunteers that are regular volunteers that will come once a week, twice a month, that come out and help maintain that entire place. So,
huge.
They move the cats off the playground, they go out, they clean the playgrounds, they, scoop everything up, they wash things down all day, every day.
Wow.
And to have a couple hundred volunteers that come on a regular basis. So that's another way to get involved if people are in the area and they want to.
Or companies want to get together and do a corporate day to go, and they can do that.
We could probably come up with some things that we could put them to work.
Well, that's good. Well, good to know. So if you want to do some volunteer work, you want to donate, go check out InsyncExotics.org or go to their Facebook page, like it, share it, and learn more about all the different cats. Okay, so Insync Exotic is not your only client. What do you do for, if somebody wanted to hire somebody in your position?
Yeah. So, what I like to do is I like to get to know the nonprofit, or particularly the leaders. That's who I'm going to kind of help and understand what their needs are. Primarily, I focus on fundraising as a big umbrella, but under fundraising is everything from awareness, introducing people to people like you that, they can come and talk about their nonprofit, helping them with speaking, raising that awareness, so then when they go to ask for money, people know who they are. So
you help with that.
I help with any. So it's get to know the nonprofit, understand. So if you have a need for raising more money, we can sit down and talk about. Quite often it's more than just how to ask people for money.
Yes.
It's, hey, we want to do an event. How do you get sponsors?
Yeah.
Things like that.
And you've been doing it a long time. You know a lot of people. Great networking.
It's a great opportunity.
And building the relationships that you have. I mean, relationships are everything. As we both have talked about that, it is your brand of yourself, and that people get excited about things that, your friends and your colleagues get excited about, what you get excited about, and they want to support you. So it's just kind of a domino effect of sorts, right? Is
exactly. Well, and it is. I love being able to connect with businesses because quite often, different people have different passions.
Right.
And so, I've had people, hey, I had one lady, I have a heart for seniors. And I was like, I know the executive director to introduce you to.
Cool.
So this is a business lady that does business coaching, and this executive director has a nonprofit that helps seniors that are maybe hoarders and helping work with them. And so I get to make those connections. So it's not just connecting nonprofits to people with money, it's finding people like you that, what's your passion and who can I introduce you to?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I do appreciate you introducing me to Insync Exotics because they're definitely a great group that I've been telling everybody about. Everybody was like, you need to take the kids out and don't buy exotic animals.
There you go. Well done.
Go get educated. Don't buy any exotic animals. So yes, I did not know that, and I'm happy to spread the word because you guys are doing a great job. So one of my staple questions on this podcast is, what would you tell your younger self?
Don't be afraid to try something new.
Huh?
20 years working, college, everything else. I dropped out. I sold everything and I went camping. I was purposefully homeless, living in my truck, living in a tent. But the experiences were amazing. And a number of times I've started over that way. Don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah.
And,
purging is not a bad thing.
That's for sure.
But no, great advice, trying something new. Because I always tell people, you won't know unless you try it. The worst you can do is start over again. It's not really that bad. And I'm not saying to the extreme, but if you want to do it to the extreme, whatever it is, starting your life in Africa, whatever. But I actually know somebody who quit her corporate job and went to volunteer with, I'm sorry, Melissa Foley, but it had to do with turtles, and it had to do with drilling wells in Africa. So, and she's been over there ever since. She hasn't ever come back. Because she found one nonprofit to help another volunteer for, and then she would do exchange, for room and board, for work, and now she started a company. But it's just quitting the corporate job and purging everything and going to Africa, and I was like, wow.
Well, and that's not for everybody,
yeah,
obviously.
And, not for everybody.
I was blessed with a very supportive family, so I always knew that if I really stumbled, they'd be there to help me out and everything. But and it's those other people that want to start a business or want to work at their corporate job while they, I look at when I was in the corporate world, I wish I would have realized then that the money that I was making, the difference I could have made had I donated more. Now I'm not making any money because I work with nonprofits, but they're, they get my time. So you know, whatever you want to do, go for it fully.
Yeah, and go all in and don't be scared.
Right.
Great advice. Okay, so fun fact about Lon that I just found out, that it's a Honda, not a Harley.
True. Yeah, motorcycles are another one of my passions.
Okay.
I've been riding since I was 15, so I
Okay.
don't know how long that's been. But it is, it's a lot of people are like, hey, nice Harley, and it's not. I work for nonprofits.
You're
I
like-
can't afford a Harley. So I've
But maybe
got
you could work some of that
couple
with
of
Harley
Hondas.
Davidson.
There you
know,
go,
like-
maybe so.
Or Honda. Who knows? Well, that is a fun fact because it definitely takes a lot to be able to stay on a bike for that long of a time. So good for you. Good for you for following both your passions. And thank you again for being my nonprofit industry celebrity today. I appreciate you recording with me. And please, listeners.
I'll listen.
Okay, yay.
Continue to listen.
Thank you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Kimberly D. Scott. Follow me on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, iTunes, and LinkedIn. And until next week, stay positive and keep growing. Thank you. Thanks, Lon.
Thanks, Kimberly.